Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you are all having a fabulous day wherever you are. Here in Utah, it's a nice sunny day, a little too nice for October. It's gotten up to 74 degrees today. We're only at 71 now, but still pretty warm for 3:30 in the middle of October in Utah. Here we are in Collectively Rewilding. It still has the same basic layout, but a lot has changed within that layout. Along the top of your toolbar here, this is where you can search all of Collectively Rewilding when you're in an overall collection. On a phone, to expose your contents menu, you'll need to click either the Collectively Rewilding profile picture or the white 3-bar horizontal menu in the upper and lower left-hand corners of your screen. Once you've exposed your contents menu, if you see a lot of colorful icons like this to the side, what you want to do is identify the top tab or overall collection that does not have the little circle icon. Click instead that little arrow and it'll hide those internal icons so that you can see the overall menu for Collectively Rewilding better. When you're in one of these overall collections, you can search all of Collectively Rewilding. Once you head into a specific space, for instance, Collectively Rewilding's homepage where we host today's class from, you will see that you're only searching Collectively Rewilding home. If we go back to the overall Collectively Rewilding collection, we're searching all of Collectively Rewilding. Next, you have the little invite guide. This is how you can invite your friends and family or colleagues to join us here in Collectively Rewilding. You have your private chat. This may still contain any public chats. I'm not sure. We don't use chats in the other Mighty network that I work in, so I'm a little bit less familiar with how the algorithms for the messages work currently. Next, you have your notification bell. The little number on the top can sometimes cover the bell. That number tells you how many notifications you currently have in Collectively Rewilding. And finally, you have a profile or your first letter of your first name here in Collectively Rewilding if you haven't uploaded a picture. If you click your profile picture, you're able to see your account, view your profile, get into your personal settings. That's where you can do things like change or add your profile picture. You'll have your saved draft, saved posts, and then the rest of this I don't think you'll have, so don't worry about that. If you have difficulty with your actual Mighty Network access, this is how you contact the Help Center within Mighty Network. Continuing on, when you first arrive here in Collectively Rewilding, you're going to arrive on the Explore page, and that's just exactly as it says. Come through, explore our welcome checklist, which on a computer, laptop, and most tablets, you'll also have over here to the right. If you're on one of those devices and you don't see it, you may have collapsed it. Just look for the double outward pointing arrows, expand, collapse, expand. That welcome checklist has a lot of great information. We'll get the new tour up right here as this is ending today. You have your featured section. That is the content that we're highlighting throughout all of the different areas within Collectively Rewilding. You have material from Collectively Rewilding itself, from Collectively Healing, all of this great information. The best pieces from each space are pinned here in your featured section. Next, you have our top spaces. These are the most popular spaces here in Collectively Rewilding, our top posts, and members near you. Continuing on, in your contents menu, you have Rewilding Community. That's your overall feed here in Collectively Rewilding. You'll have a variety of options that you can choose through your filters to select what you'd like to see. It starts off on your personal feed. If you'd like to see everything that's going on, your activity from your host, activity near you, that's all available here in your filters. Continuing on, you have members, pretty self-explanatory, and events. We only have one event currently. That's every third Saturday. We'll slowly start adding more in as we get more and more activity going here in Collectively Rewilding. If you haven't already done so, I see Adam and Tammy here. I know they've both already RSVP'd, but you can come in, click one of those events, and RSVP, say you're going, interested, not going, and then you can add it to your calendar. I don't believe I have the information yet in here about how to utilize this calendar feature. I'll write that down in my notes to get the calendar notification information in here because it isn't as user-friendly or intuitive as we might like. But once you add it to your calendar, you simply select all events in the series and add it to the online calendar of your choice. We'll walk through that a little bit more next month when I have those notifications up so that you can see we have the Apple calendar, Outlook calendar, and the Google or Android calendar. Next, we start getting into some of the areas with content here in Collectively Rewilding. You can click the overall icon for that collection or click the drop-down arrow and go into any of those spaces individually. These are the featured content creators out there in the natural world on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, doing great things. We have the Black Forager. She's somewhere down in the southeast corner of the states, I believe. And she goes out, she forages for mushrooms, bark, berries, just an amazing variety. She's a lot of fun to watch, really engaging with her content. California Native Plant Society, Tammy Larson, one of our hosts here in Collectively Rewilding, has been busy in the California Native Plant Society space. They've been around since about 1966, promoting native plants in the California state. A really amazing collective out there doing their thing. Next, we have Callie Kim 29, Garden and Home Do-It-Yourself. Again, another California content creator. M.I. Gardner in Michigan, and Wildcraft Dyeing. A little bit outside of the sphere of the other four, she goes around the world doing conservation efforts. And as she's doing these different university-based conservation efforts, she forages for materials to use in her dyeing practice. She's very scholarly. Her material is not as trending. You're going to really learn when you watch Wildcraft Dyeing. She's going to really take you in depth into the art of natural dyes, and she produces some amazing colors. Some of the colors that we take for granted in our modern world, the purples, the blues, the fuchsias, she's able to create these colors with natural dyeing processes. She's very, very impressive. All right, next we head into Collectively Rewilding's overall collection. And again, you can click to see the icons over here. Miss Tammy has once again been busy. She's out here putting out agricultural-based grants for you. I work with Tammy in the other mighty networks that we all are a part of. Many of us that are here in Collectively Rewilding also take part in the grant hunting world through Let's Go Help. And she's out here wanting to share those agricultural grants with you guys because she's learned so much. Amazing opportunities in the agricultural grant world. Next, you have the world is Collectively Rewilding. This is one of the bigger changes. We've moved all of the different states into the world is Collectively Rewilding, along with some news around the world, agricultural innovations, and tiny home living, as that's such a common topic for those of us wanting to integrate more into our natural world. The tiny home living comes up quite a bit. Next, we have some featured content creators that are trying to make their way into Collectively Rewilding, but they haven't quite made their presence shown yet. With with Colorado Mushroom Company, Cordell Artisan Brickmaking, Collectively Healing is starting to come in. They're just beginning their posting. We have Lily's Pad, and that's all about soap and lotions and elixirs. Lily does a lot of amazing things with herbs, essential oils, and she's going to come in eventually and start teaching us how to make these products. Amazing. I have eczema on my right hand, and if I did not have Lily's soap for my eczema, my hand would just be open sores, like a cat had just scratched me. And right now, the only thing that even shows I have eczema on my hand is that my thumbnail. It was bad for about a year before I started using Lily's products, and it hasn't quite completed its healing, but you can see that my thumbnail is actually going back to being a very normal looking thumbnail. And so her products are nourishing, extremely high quality. I cannot say enough good about them. They are tremendously quality products. She uses goat's milk, manuka honey, colloidal oatmeal, which is colloidal silver with oatmeal. Just amazing products. Next, we have off-grid desert greening. This is where Gerard Kenyatte Hay is out in the Southwest Texas desert, bringing back an ecologically sound biome to the best of his ability. He's working on building in swales and little arroyo dams where they're gathering the water that does come through the Texas system and will continue then to feed those plants when it goes to a more dry time period. Amazing work that he's doing out there. He's a lot of fun to listen to, and he's really out there roughing it. He's still bringing in his water from outside sources, but for the most part, he is getting to be close to 100% off-grid, probably 75 to 90% fully off-grid, fully self-sustaining. Next, we have Quick Draw Editing Services. That's just the overall parent company for Collectively Rewilding, and that's where we have some information about brand building, community creation, content creating. So any of you that are interested in building your own brand or creating content, jump right in and start learning how to go about that. And then finally, Miss Tammy, last in alphabetical order, has Tammy's Wild Creatures with chipmunks and squirrels and finches. Oh my. I just set up an area for her. She's an amazing lady out there living large. That's what I would say. She has her hands in everything that she can think of. She's learning constantly. She's so in love with sharing what she learns that she outproduces me. I'll tell you that much. I can't keep up with her. I came in today, I had over 50 notifications here. She's got me at over 200 notifications in the other Mighty networks that I work in. She loves this online world, the idea of sharing what she knows and encouraging others to learn what they need to learn. And she is participating with her outer world as much as she's able. She has some physical limitations with some medical complications in her world. So she's not as free as some of us to just go striding out and pick up a shovel and go to it. And she does not let that stop her. She loves the animals that she brings in. She has a troop of dogs. I think she has 2 cats, something like that. And she's been growing and learning about the California soils that she's working in. She wants to go back more towards native plants and learning about how to best work with the property that she has. Her and her husband are a team, and even though she has to work through some challenges, she still interacts with the outer world. I think that Tammy Larson is an amazing example of pushing past any boundaries that might be in our way to get back to the wild community that we all need inside ourselves so much. She's simply amazing. So you'll see her very active here in our rewilding community because she has more energy than probably 10 of us put together.
I got this sign.
That is overall what you're going to find here in Collectively Rewilding.
Please deliver all packages.
We're still really just beginning.
What?
We're going to officially launch on the spring equinox. I thought that was a perfect time for an overtly gardening area, right? There's other content within here, and I hope to build more and more outside of the gardening and foraging world, but that is a really good solid base for us to begin with. And everything begins really in the spring equinox. So as the earth is warming up and coming back to life, we're going to launch and spring out there already very well fully formed, ready to bring all of this amazing information to the masses. All right, does anybody have any questions about how to utilize the site or where certain material is located? Any kind of question that you might have. We're just starting, so I'm not sure that there's a lot to get lost in
Oh,
yet.
here's your coffee.
But slowly we will continue to build on that. I love seeing some people here getting active in Collectively Rewilding. I can't tell you, Tammy, how much I appreciate seeing you come in and start posting. I'm sure everybody was getting sick of seeing Sabrina Giesler posted, Sabrina Giesler commented. Seeing somebody else is so amazing.
Sabrina, you're amazing. Well,
Oh no, I don't have my speakers on. Hold on, say that again, Miss Tammy.
Are you there?
Hello, I am. Are
All
you
right,
there?
here we go. All right, so no, thank you. I'm learning just here, just as everybody else, learning from you. You know, I know you're in the grant world, but you know, I do know about gardening, but I don't know like, you know, the stuff. You know what I'm saying? So when I'm doing my research, I just come upon things and I'm like, oh, cool, you know, maybe someone would like to like learn about this stuff. So like I don't really know exactly where to post these kind of things. Like
You're doing great. I love
okay,
it. I'm gonna move this one here. I'm gonna move this one. I'm gonna copy it actually and move it into Collectively Rewilding overall, and then
okay.
also add it to Collectively Rewilding syllabus page in sustainable organic soil regeneration. So I'm
Yeah,
gonna
okay, cool. Because like I just like I'm just from California and like I just read it and then, like I'll be like, I don't know where to go, but this is where I go. So like I do, you know, I do know Mighty Networks, but I've never been a host before. So you know, the settings are a little bit different as a moderator. So you know, when I hid some stuff, like I was like, why is this hiding? You know, like this, you know,
because it's
like
empty.
I know, right? And then I go to it, I'm like, man, okay, maybe I'm not tripping. Maybe she's the only one that can't see it and I'm the only one who can see it. So I gotta change that. So yeah, I got that message, you know, because I'm like, I was on my cell phone. Okay, so it's different when
It
you're
is.
on your computer. So when you have a wider screen, you know, these little things become bigger things, right?
Yes,
So
very
it's
much.
more
And you see
noticeable.
the outer sides as well.
Yeah,
You
for
just see
sure.
the feed when you're on your phone, and it really does limit you. You can't do things like add the content to the featured section when you're on your phone. There's significant differences. So if anybody out there is struggling and does not have a computer, you ought to join our other community, Let's Go Help, and learn about how to get that free computer. It really will open up your world. But that's not something we focus on in here. However, it really will help you. So always consider joining our other community over there. And then when you are working, Tammy, when you saw that page that was blank, it's here in the featured content creators, right? In the California Native Plant Society. So what this is for, you would place some really good basic material about the California Native Plant Society in here. That one that I mentioned, oh, this would be great. There were about 2 pieces, and they really explained what it was about.
Like random plants? What are like about just like random plants? Because like, you know, like when you have different states, you know, like how do I like categorize like, you know, all these like plant species?
If you
So
want to
like,
work regionally, where you want to go is in the world is Collectively Rewilding. And so
okay.
for your state, right, your area is
Mhm.
Pacific states. But if you find something, you can of course add to any of them. I have them broken down a little differently than we normally see. So the desert states are all grouped together: Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, and Texas. And then you have the Great Lakes with Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, and Wisconsin, those states that are so much more heavily influenced by the Great Lakes. Then you have the mountainous states, and that's actually even going to encompass Alaska, because when we're approaching it from a gardening, foraging, weather sense, the sorts of normal boundaries that we place our states into, you know, the Midwest, the South, all of this, some of it works. The South works pretty well. But when you say the Northeast, for instance, and you're going from like Ohio over to the coast, there are so many different climates in that region. And so I've broken them down more in an overall climatic comparison grouping than our traditional groups. And so Pacific states for your region is going to include not only California, Oregon, and Washington, but also Hawaii. The most that any states will have in comparison to Hawaii are, of course, going to be California, Oregon, and Washington, although they are quite different. I think it's Washington that also has a temperate rainforest, right? It's not a tropical rainforest like we traditionally think of as rainforests, but they do have a temperate rainforest in Washington. And of course, there are actual tropical rainforests in Hawaii, and they're all influenced so heavily by the Pacific Ocean. So they're all grouped together. But you can put it in any state that it is appropriate for.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure, like, because I love all states. So, like, do you have like an all state kind of like chat where, like, Michigan and Arizona,
No, I didn't break it down quite that specifically. I think that gets a little unwieldy.
Okay.
So I wanted everybody to also be able to talk to a wider grouping. So when you're in Utah and Colorado, there are so many plants that cross those human-made lines, right? So there's a lot of information that Utahns and Coloradans can share together. And they can also share with Montana and Idaho. There's, again, a lot of crossover when you get up to like the Denver area and you get up north in Utah. I don't even know what is up north in Utah, but as you head more north, I always want to say St. George, but everybody keeps telling me that St. George is south of where we are here in the Salt Lake Valley. So whatever it is that's up there, Ogden and past Ogden, Bountiful is up there. All of those states areas will start having more in comparison with Idaho and Montana as you start trending north. And so that's what I was trying to do, is provide a community of people that have a comparable geographic, climate, style, feel, right? So everybody can help everybody else.
Oh, cool beans.
Mm-hmm.
No, I like it. I just like I said, I'm new to your platform. I've been on it, but like you said, I'm just like I'm all over the place half the time. So like I just kind of like recently just kind of, since I'm doing my house, you know what I'm saying? Like it's been a project. So,
that's why I found the California Native Plant Society
so like I
specifically.
was like, I'm on it. Like, so like I'd be like blowing up your notifications like I blow up my own study groups notifications. So I'll be like, we got to study these kind of things because you never know when like you're going to see these type of plants, or you're in a situation where these plants can, really benefit from you, like for yourself.
Both, right? Or they benefit from you and you benefit from them. It's a really, truly symbiotic relationship. And we've stepped away from that so much. And that's what we're going to talk about in this week's radio show, is the community, right? Many of us have left our family areas. We've moved away from our family. Maybe we didn't have a very large family to begin with. A lot of folks have no siblings and their parents have passed away and they're kind of just out there floating. They don't have a home region. And so what do you do to build a community? Do you build a community online? Do you build a community where you are? And what would it look like to go about doing that? How does one build a community online? How does one build a community in their physical area? And this is something that I've spent a lot of time both experiencing, doing, and researching. And that is where the Collectively Rewilding comes from. This first radio show, we talked about soil. That's more into that rewilding, bringing us back to our roots. And then now we're going to talk about what it is to be not so much a collective, that trending more towards like hive mentality. That's not what we're doing here. Collectively means that we're collectively coming together with our individual perspectives, mindsets, goals, thought processes, learning styles to share what we know. It is not a micromanaged area. It is very much an experimental and theoretical endeavor that we're all trying to go back to. We've broken the natural system and we want to try to ameliorate that, to heal that, to do our best to go back to a more sustainable and healthy planet. And all of that is an experiment. Nobody knows how to do that. There is not an official manual on that, though there are definitely treatises and there are studies and there are experiments that are ongoing. There is no concrete plan to correct what we've broken. So nobody should be telling anybody what is. This is an experience that we're all going to go through. And for any of you that have spent time in the gardening world, you know that what works for one gardener doesn't always work for another gardener. Just because somebody else has had success with a certain style of gardening doesn't mean that that's our only option. There are so many methods that we can employ, and some of those will work better for each of us, and some of them won't. And that is also what this space is about, having a variety of possibilities for interacting with the natural world. All of us are separated to some degree from that natural world. Some of us experience it a little bit more. Misty Folds, one of our hosts, she is collectively healing over here in restoring gut health. She's out there. She does so much. She hikes, she camps, she rides the rivers, she forages. When she was living in Florida, she was doing coastal ocean fishing, right? She didn't go out in a boat, but she'd go out there and they were foraging and fishing for a large number of the products that they were eating off of their table. They were providing those themselves. She gardens. She is immensely well versed in the natural healing processes. So collectively rewilding is not just plants. It's not just the soil, and it's not just community. It's any possible thing that one could think of about returning to a more natural thought process. So anything you'd like to share, any experiences that you have, whether you want to be a content creator or you just want to share with others, this is where you can do that. I think that we're going to see such a blossoming from this. We're going to start seeing more and more types of content. I'm going to approach survival brands. There's a gentleman in Australia that's just doing amazing things in the outback down there. He has a piece of property attached to his more modern style life. And then he goes out into that outback and really works his land. He builds properties with his hands. He has captured native chickens in Australia and is raising a flock. And then he even goes so far as to mine and gather ore and turn it into iron. It's amazing. So there are so many things out there. We have our own Melvin Cordell already in here, posting just a little bit about the handmade bricks that he makes. Rewilding is so far beyond just going and hiking in our national and state parks. It's so far beyond throwing a few seeds down in a bear patch in our backyard. It's about encompassing all of the wild world back into our own lives. We are so far from it that most people don't even really understand what the process is to make a brick, right? It's something that I had a little bit of knowledge in, more as a historical context, understanding that that did develop into our modern industry. And Melvin Cordell, he's right there in that middle point, right? He takes the ancient art of handcrafting bricks and like paving stones, all these different artistic pieces that we put into our walkways and things. And he has a press that is more mechanized, but is not automated. It is manual. So he meets that world right there in the middle. Really neat, interesting stuff. All right, guys, we're all finished up for today. Michelle, you had unmuted yourself there for a moment. Did you have something you wanted to ask or contribute?
Hi, Sabrina. No, I just forgot to mute myself. I'm sorry.
Oh, not a problem at all.
Sabrina.
And I said, nice to hear from you.
It's nice to hear from you as well, my dear.
Okay,
Yes,
I'll
ma'am.
mute myself. I'm sorry about that.
Oh, no, never worry about that, Michelle. You're wonderful.
Okay,
Okay.
so we have I have these are my two people that are in my study group. So Adam, he's from Arizona. Adam,
Hi.
does your mic work? I don't know. I've never spoken to him before, so I don't know what he sounds like. But yeah, he's from
He's
Arizona.
trying to talk to you, my dear.
Yeah. Adam, are you there? There you go. Adam.
Yeah.
All right, introduce yourself, man. I know you just moved into your place, right? And you're looking to do some gardening, right? And what type of things you're looking to what is your gardening thing? I'm not really good at this. I don't know how to
Okay. Well, I mean, I don't really I have a patio or a balcony to be able to do stuff on, but I'm only getting morning sun
Hmm.
area, which makes it kind of difficult to grow anything that needs a good amount of sun. Like in my last apartment in Washington, I was able to grow Hungarian wax peppers and tomatoes and things like that. I just don't see how I'd be able to do that in the place I'm at now.
Surprisingly enough, if it gets 5 to 6 hours, you'll be able to do a good amount at them. They might not be as prolific or as robust as what you've experienced before, but as long as you get about 5 hours a day, they should do all right.
All right.
In Collectively Rewilding last year, I was in a relatively comparable situation. We got even less light and we had a decent success. Last year was even more extreme with the heat wave here in Utah. So it was really hard to grow anything. And when you're in containers, the weather affects those plants a lot more strongly, right? So we really struggled. But if you come into this, I'm in the wrong area. If you come into this bottommost green icon area of Collectively Rewilding community gardening, a porch garden, you'll see what we managed to do last year. And it was rough to try to grow on the porch. There's no argument there, but we did. We pulled off some peppers and some sweet potatoes, lots of flowers. We had a lot of nasturtiums early on. We had radishes that were successful. So you can definitely do it. And we had probably more like 4 or 5 hours maybe of sunlight on that porch, even 3 hours on a bad day. And that still managed to pull off 20 to 30 little tomatoes for the cherry tomato bushes that we had up there. And we pulled up, oh, I don't know, at least probably close to 12 radishes. And then it wasn't on our porch, it was down in the property, the apartment property. We had our sweet potatoes and we got, oh, I don't know, at least 10 or 12 sweet potatoes off of it. So with the extreme of the weather, it being the first year in that property, not really knowing the sunlight when we started gardening, being so limited on the porch as we knew we were going to be, we still had a good amount of success. One thing that I really learned is they have all these bags for produce now to grow them. And I think it's a great idea, but they're too thin. In Arizona, you are going to have so much moisture drawn out of the soil every moment of the day. What I would recommend is if you do any of those bag planting, they're really nice because you can move them more easily. When you're in a property the first year and you don't really know what the light is like, you can move them a little more easily. But I would recommend wrapping them in an outer layer of burlap.
Okay.
It will really help them to retain the moisture because that's one of the things that we struggled with the most with the container gardening in these extreme heat patterns.
One thing I did is I took large plastic bins that sometimes get like snacks in or something like that, and I would cut the top off of them to be able to fit the pot that I was at, and then I would put that over the soil, and it would create a humid environment in there.
Nice. Nice. I am a little concerned with using plastic. I haven't decided what I think about it. To me, it seems like if you shouldn't, you know, have BPA and you're not supposed to drink water that's been in your car that's in plastic that's heated. I'm a little concerned with all the plastic greenhouses that we do and all these plastic planters and everything. I think it's a little concerning. I think if we continue down this path, we're going to come back just like they are with these artificial lawns where they're leaving forever chemicals behind and they're not really stopping the weeds and they're really yucky. Overall, I think we're going to find that growing things in plastic may have some consequences. So just something to keep in mind when you're deciding how you want to pursue your pots, and if one was to build a greenhouse or a cold frame, do you want to use plastic or do you want to try to utilize glass, right?
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, I think this was really great. We're going to only come once a month. I'm not trying to push anybody. We're slowly building this all together. We're slowly building a community. We have other commitments, all of us, and I want everybody to enjoy these sessions and not feel like they are pressured to join. If anybody has any questions or they'd like to see another event, of course, let us know, but that's the plan ongoing. So I hope to see you all next it'll be November the 18th, it looks like. So November 18th, just before Thanksgiving, we'll come in and talk about the community and the things that we've done on the radio show, see where you guys are at with your fall cleanup, if you finished that, if anybody started any cold frames or any sort of indoor growing so that they continue their rewilding journey through the winter. I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you next month. Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Bye, Sabrina. I'll see you.
Bye,
Nice to see you.
Sabrina.
Bye, Tammy. Bye, Michelle. Bye, Adam. Thank you so much for joining us today. Good night, guys.